Um, I think I'm a broken record, but I think the quality on the ball, our decision making in moments on the ball, and then our ability in and around the goal to create things just wasn't good enough today.
The timing of the penalty was at a point where it seemed like you had the better of the flow of play, and that also coincided with Lou getting
Not being on
down.
the
Did
field.
that really affect their ability to kind of drop back and maybe absorb and put them in a position where they had that little bit of a buffer?
Not having 11 players on the field isn't an ideal situation. That's twice this year we've conceded goals when one of our players has been off the field. Obviously disappointing timing for sure.
So Laura, you guys had more than 60% of the ball today. I realize you couldn't score, but what was working to kind of keep the ball away from Bay's offense?
We changed it up. We changed shape a little bit in how we build. Got an extra player into midfield by keeping Quinn higher. And obviously playing Veronica in that sort of wide right position that Sophia would have played, keeping her a little bit higher, I think was successful. I think we spoke about at half time how we got opportunities out there numerous times in the first half, but we hadn't punished them by putting balls in the box, because I think there was a lot of opportunities in both halves really where Anna and Jordan were 2v2 in the box and we gave up the chance to serve it, so I think that was what was working for us. But they are uber dangerous on the transition. So I think, they don't need to high pressure. They can sit in and let you have it a little bit, knowing that when they win it, they're just going to go at you. So I think we dealt with that okay. There was obviously a couple of times where they broke us down from that. But, overall, their chances come from us, giving the ball away in those moments, which we have to be better at. It doesn't surprise me that we controlled the game, because we've been doing that a lot lately and been doing it well.
Thanks for that time, Laura. Sorry. Is there any thought of maybe trying to do too much this season in such a compact time in terms of the roster turnover, new ownership, and is that our thoughts coming in that a lot has been put on all of y'all in a short time, and then also looking to make the playoffs?
Yes and no. I think that the biggest impactor of on the field is the players that have left. You can't shy away from that. And yes, we brought new players in, and are they good players? Absolutely. But to get them to think that we can get them clicking and working in the way that we want them to immediately would be foolish, But I do think that we have a core group that really cares. But I do think it's hard to shy away from looking at the starting 11 today and thinking back to last year's championship game and not comparing the two. It's hard to not do that, and not that that's a knock on any player that's here. It's just reality of the situation for us.
A quick follow-up about Veronica. We saw her at right back a little bit last year when you were working on her playing that position, and expecting Sophia to leave. Wondering what has gone into the decision to have her play that position more recently. Obviously, she started in that position today, played it a little bit in the last home game, I believe. Just wondering the thought process behind that decision.
Honestly, that she's probably the most like Sophia player that we have who could play there. And I think Anna's come in and done well, so that's impacted Veronica's opportunity to play higher up. So it's a way to get her on the field and still get her in the positions that I think she can cause the opponent the most damage, which I think is crossing the ball in the box. It's definitely one of her strengths. We did that today with the mindset that we could get her higher up the field and get her in crossing positions, and I think we did that. I'm not sure we did it as much as we would like and as often as we like, but we definitely did it.
And in terms of Jordan, Emery obviously got both of them back today for the first time in a month or so.
Yeah.
Just what did you see from them, and particularly, is there anything you feel like they gained from that World Cup experience? I know you were kind of not thrilled about letting them go at the time, but were hopeful that the experience was going to be good for them. Just maybe what have you seen in terms of how that has been beneficial for them?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm a huge advocate for those players getting that opportunity. I think we had to really manage. Honestly, they probably played too much today, if I'm being really honest, with what they'd come back from. But I think the experiences that they get are going to be invaluable for them for the long haul. I don't think you're going to see them game on game necessarily, but I think, you know, Jordan just has a real exceptional talent, I think, and she was able to put that in the shop window out in Colombia, and thankfully we'd already snapped her up so people couldn't take advantage of it, because for me she was one of the US's most consistent players throughout the tournament, and even today when she came on in difficult circumstances, I thought she was very, very good.
So from a coaching perspective, did you feel the absence of Jess in the midfield today, as far as flow, as far as creating chances?
Yeah, I mean, I've said this before, I think that we do miss Jess. I actually think Liv did well. I think we talked about all week about, you know, we've got a lot of players that are quite similar. Ainsley has, Jalen, Quinn, they're quite similar players. Jess and, you know, maybe Liv are probably the ones that are like eights that go box to box and feel comfortable doing that. But yeah, do I think that we miss Jess when she's not in there? Yeah, I think we miss her leadership. I think we miss her ability. I think her dynamicness to be able to go forward and break lines. I think we miss. Because I think G likes to float and get on the ball and get a little bit lower. So just having someone who can match that up, I think, is what we miss the most probably. But I do think Liv did a good job today.
And talking about the playoffs, it was a pretty big opportunity to get back into the playoff picture.
Mm-hmm.
Now 8 points from the playoff zone. Just to ask it straight up, do you think there is still, like, though it's mathematically possible, do you think there's a chance that the team could still somehow sneak into that playoff picture?
I mean, look, to get in the playoffs, we've got to win every game, and hope that other things go our way. So as long as there's a mathematical chance, we will always be going for it. Do I think it's harder after today? Absolutely.
Quick follow-up I forgot to ask earlier. Obviously Lou came off at halftime. Was there an injury concern or
Yeah.
situation?
Injury.
Is there any update on that or?
We'll take the last one from Jeff over here.
Even with all of that turmoil, Lou out, changing up, different outside back, the only goal he gave up was still against run and play on a penalty. Can you still speak on the quality of the defensive performance, holding them in the flow of play to a clean sheet, even if the penalty statistically is there?
Yeah, you know, that's probably the most gut-wrenching part about it, is that when we were out there and we played these guys earlier in the year, we conceded, you know, sloppy goals out there too. You know, I'm just really disappointed that we conceded the penalty when we were down to 10 men. I think that's the most gut-wrenching thing for me.
Thanks everyone. Thanks Laura.
Thank you, Laura.